A lot of people don't do this, but I'm going to. I'm going to document a struggle in my life, a transition, I should say, in career live or document it as it happens. Some people might wait to document and share what's happening or what did happen until after the smoke had cleared and the dust had settled so you can kind of get the full picture. But no, I actually want to document this as I go, um, so that you can see in real time what I'm doing to stay grounded in my faith, to actually like the actual actionable steps that I'm taking to further my career and get out of this transition period, and to see what kind of things I do as life throws curveballs. So in general, just to recap what happened, I'm in transition and looking for new opportunities in career. I'm uncertain of the future. And so the first things that came to my mind is I needed to restart my agency and go full-fledged into creating a business so that I'm never left vulnerable or anything like this again. And that's not the end of that thought process, but I slowly calmed down. My first step right after that was to say, I got to get centered again. So I put on some worship music in the car. I blasted it and I tried to align well with God. While driving with my eyes open, I was talking with God and praising Him. And, I got a better calmness to me and a bit more clarity and understanding of this is going to be okay, you know? But initially, I got to work, not the first day, but I got to work the day after. Tactically, actionable steps. I started working very fast to get my resume built out because I hadn't had a resume since 7, 8 years ago since I started at the last job I was in. So I had to do a lot of building of that. I did want to bring back on the agency that I had, or I guess freelancing website that I had back in the day. And so I revitalized that because it had been sitting there dormant for years. And then I went and overhauled my LinkedIn account. So if you want to check any of those things out, I'll link them in the description in the video. But essentially, I needed to create this base and this platform for whenever I started sending out my resume or applying for new jobs or meeting people and talking to people about the new transition. I wanted things to be ready so that whenever they came and they saw the potential opportunity to work with me and the different ways and formats and structures that I'd be willing to work. And essentially, I put everywhere that I'm pretty much open to anything because at this moment, I don't know what God has in store. And there's a lot of verses that you could potentially review and look at and pray on. And one of the ones that come to mind a lot is Jeremiah 29:11, where God says, He knows the plans He has for you, and the plans are good. Those are verbatim. That's just the concept of the verse. So that always comes to my mind. God has good plans for me, right? But in moments like this where you might feel lost or like probably uncertain of whether or not God is there, is He really making plans, right? Um, or is he just kind of letting things slip? Like what's God doing, But one of the verses that I don't think people talk about a lot, it doesn't come to mind. I don't think I've heard people talk about it a bunch. And that is Isaiah 55:11. And I'm going to read it so I don't butcher it like I did on the last verse. Jeremiah. Isaiah 55:11 says, "So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it." So that verse to me is well, just to kind of give you a little bit more context, that verse comes from a time, in context, it says, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. And so he's kind of sitting here in this moment talking about how powerful, how much more clarity, how much more wisdom he has than us. So much more wisdom and so much more clarity that he thinks so much higher and more intelligently than we do, that is compared to how far away heaven is from the earth, which is like so such a big gap, right? And so I think about that. Well, in that verse or in that context, he also says something that resonates with me, that says, my plans, my intentions, what I say that I want, I will get. God says, my will be done. I mean, I'm just rephrasing it in different ways that I understand it. And because I know that God's will is good plans for me, I don't know what his plans are. I don't know the timeline of his plans, and I don't know uh, what part of my life he's focusing on trying to develop me in. But what I do know is that whatever's coming, I know it's for my best, for the best of humanity, for the best of my children, whatever it is. God has good intentions. And not only does he have good intentions, his will is good, and his results are good. So I am in a moment where I'm having to take this breath and say, okay, what's going to happen? What's my part in this? And what am I going to do? And the first thing I'm going to do, like I said, when I got in the car, was first I started to react. And then I said, wait a second, let's get right with God. Let's go to him and lean on him. And I want to encourage you to do the same thing. Whenever something challenging is in your life, whatever you're facing, you got to take it to him. And one of the things that I just want to point this out, take this moment to pause and think about this, is initially when I prayed, I got home and I had a little bit of alone time, and I prayed more intently. And my prayer was telling God that I trust him. But as I was praying that, clarity came into my mind about what I actually meant when I said, I trust you. And what I actually meant is I trust you to do what I want. And that's not how it works. It's that's what came to my mind really quickly when I said that. And that's not how it works. You got to trust God that whatever his plan is that it is for your benefit, even if it's painful, or even if it isn't exactly how you envisioned it going. Sometimes things can be challenging. I mean, if you think back to anything you've learned about the apostles when they were on earth, you know, God had good plans for them, but it wasn't just for them. It was for all of humanity, all of the church, all of the Christians that were to come. So the actions that they took were good actions that helped spread the word, but the results were on earth. Visually looking at what happened to them, they were tortured and killed and martyred. But ultimately, while they might have went through some hard stuff, and on earth, their life might not have looked ideal, but in the grand scheme of things, it was for the best. Now, I'm in no way comparing myself to the apostles and thinking that what I'm going through is what they went through. But I want to point out that something as small as a career transition can feel really big, and like there's a lot of weight. And my first reaction, oftentimes, because I don't really rely on motivation, but instead rely on discipline, is to work and to take action and rely on my own my own capabilities. And that is a bad habit to be in, especially when we should be leaning into God. So I have to check myself occasionally and say, hey, are we doing things in our own strength, or are we leaning on God? So I want to encourage you that if you're going through a challenging time, any of the challenging things you might be going through, is be sure to check yourself, and don't be trying to do things with your own thoughts and your own powers. You're doing it in the walk with God and trying to stay in his will. So just a couple more tidbits on the practical things that I've been doing. So I did the resume, and I got just a base resume going so that I'm ready to send it out wherever. I also got the website touched up. It's ready to go. It's just a one-page simple website that kind of almost resembles a resume, but also has a link or a button to send people to go maybe book a call with me, and it's connected to my calendar, and so it's real techy and advanced and all that stuff. And then I went and, like I said, overhauled my LinkedIn account. Now, the one thing that kind of ties all of this together, because on the LinkedIn account, it links to that website, gunnermedia.com. It links to my personal blog. It's davidcote333.com. And then also my resume is on there. Then also just my work history is documented there, professional summary, and then also the link to go book a call. So everything is kind of like a hub on LinkedIn. So what I ended up doing is I think that I can, of course, it's been a really long time since I've ever been in a situation like this. I went from the military to working at my aunt's magazine company to freelancing, and then to working at this other place. And then here I am at this transition point again. So, and I say again, like usually each transition I had a really solid plan, and everything was known what the future was coming. So this one's a little bit different. But with that said, I got a strategy. I got a business card. I think this is kind of like the pivotal thing of like when I'm in person with people. It'd be really challenging to just carry your resume with you everywhere you went and it'd just be like handing it out to people. Not that you ever want to do that with business cards, but the idea is that this business card is really small, something you can keep in your pocket. And if you meet somebody that could be a good connection, or maybe you're just reconnecting with somebody, this business card is like a key little thing. And the idea for me on this business card is to keep it super simple and super basic, and not have the content of the business card lean in any one direction or not. I don't have a job title. It's just marketing leader. It's just like a marketing leader, marketing strategy, whatever it says. I don't remember. I'd have to look at it. Let's check it out. Strategic marketing leader. That's what I went with. So there's no actual like official job title. It just kind of tells you what I do. And then after that, I got some contact information like my email address and my phone number. The email address is actually tied to the business, gunnermedia.com. So it's a slight little hint or like drop of the business side of things. And then that's all plain on a white background with my phone number. And then on the right bottom corner is a QR code that has a link to my LinkedIn page. I could have done a few other things. I could have done it straight to the website, but with the email address, they already have the website. I could have gone straight to the booking an appointment, but this could be a cold contact. I don't really know. And I could go straight to the resume, but it might not be a employer necessarily. It might be somebody that's looking for some type of project to work and get help with. So I wanted to leave it a bit more open, so I had it go to LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn, like I said earlier, is like a place that has everything. It's like a hub, and we can connect for longer term relationships in a more professional way. So I had that link to LinkedIn. And then one more little small little tip that I think kind of sets it apart a little bit. The business card looks super basic. It's black text, white background, but on the back side, it's completely blank. And it's a matte finish. And a lot of people, some people know this. This isn't like something new. I didn't come up with this. I heard this actually from an old networking buddy. I think his name was Chuck Gaines, I think it was. He said, or he gave me this tip. He says, I keep my business cards with a plain background or backside with nothing on the back so that I can write on it. And the idea is that when you write on it, let's say I'm talking with somebody and we had some thoughts, and I said, oh, here's a couple of steps, or here's some strategy you could use, or here's some websites you could check out, or some resources, whatever it is, it makes it custom to them. And oftentimes if there's something valuable right there, even if the stuff like my contact information or that QR code is not valuable to them, the thing I wrote might be valuable to them. And so they'll keep that card a little bit longer than what they would have if I didn't write anything. That's the idea. And the idea means that then maybe my name sticks with them. That marketing strategy leader sticks with them a little bit longer. So I can kind of live in that space a bit more. So it's a small, but I think a big impactful tip that you might want to check out doing for yourself if you're in a similar situation. So just one last reminder, this is not the end. This is just a chapter in my life, and it's a chapter in your life or whatever struggle that you're going through, uh, job loss or not. It's just a chapter, and the chapter brings us closer to God. It helps us get more resourceful, and oftentimes, I got to share this. This just came to my mind as I'm thinking. When I was transitioning out of the military, there was a really good analogy that I liked, and it was, because they were trying to prepare us for getting out of the military, and we went through a, program called TAPS, a transition after I forget. But, what the guy that was teaching, he said, "This transition from the military to wherever you're going now, think of it kinda like golf, a backswing. Sometimes you need a backswing. And when you're playing golf, you definitely need a backswing. And I'm not a golfer, so I don't even know the terms. I'm just going off memory from over a decade ago. He said something like, in order to make the ball go forward, you have to take a backswing in order to swing forward. And the farther back you go, the more power you'll have coming forward. So I don't know if I got that analogy completely right, but it is kind of like this thing that kind of sits in my mind sometimes when I feel like I'm having a setback, is that sometimes this is what has to happen for the next opportunity to present itself. So I'm here looking forward to opportunity, to what's to come, to potential, and I want to encourage you to do the same thing. Also, I went into a lot more detail on my blog website, davidcote333.com. You can check the link in the description. Also, I want to encourage you to watch the previous video from last week, because last week I was actually talking about how I feel all the time. Even when things are good, I'm always anticipating that something bad in my life is going to happen. And so it's kind of apropos. I'm going to leave that video right here. You can go check it out. And then if that's not really something you care to check out, YouTube's got a recommendation over here. So, but I really encourage you to check that video out because I think it's apropos and all that stuff. And I'll be sure to see you in the next video. I'll talk to you soon.